This is the Kudila television channel being broadcast on the internet under the banner of Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto Editions. Baby Angel Geronimo is an alpaca, most beloved alpaca in the whole world. Baby Angel Geronimo was lovingly brought up in New Zealand by a woman called Leonie Walker. And Baby Angel Geronimo was warmly welcomed to South Gloucestershire in southwest England in the United Kingdom by a trained nurse, animal nurse, veterinary nurse, a woman who loves alpacas called Helen MacDonald. Within quotation mark for rhetorical reasons, Baby Angel Geronimo lives with Helen MacDonald in South Gloucestershire. So Baby Angel Geronimo is the witness. We can compare Baby Angel Geronimo as a witness, similar to, not exactly identical, but similar to the angels, the two angels that record the behavior of human beings by sitting on either shoulder of every human being, and that record will be produced on the day of judgment, on which each of the individuals will be judged by God. The baby angel Geronimo has been the subject of evilness done by the United Kingdom Central Government Department called DEFRA, D-E-F for Freddy, R-A, depraved DEFRA. I think since 2017, approximately the year when baby angel Geronimo arrived in the United Kingdom from New Zealand. And the depraved DEFRA, the depravity, has known no bounds, no limits, despite the fact that there is absolutely physical no evidence to establish that baby angel Geronimo has been in any way, any shape or form physically infected with bovine tuberculosis. The depraved morons at DEFRA have persisted that he has bovine tuberculosis, which is an absolute, utter, brazen, corrupt criminal lie and untruth and criminality and cruelty. So the baby angel Geronimo is the general as well as specific of the wrongdoings being done by the central government, UK department, their agencies, and successive holders of the positions as cabinet member in the UK central government administration, allegedly in charge of the department called DEFRA. As many as 3 High Court judges sat in London in the High Court, and all 3 of them successively perpetrated lies as stooges ordered by the DEFRA depravity decision makers to certify that the perfectly healthy, innocent baby angel Geronimo was in fact infected with tuberculosis, bovine tuberculosis. which he wasn't. And one of the High Court judges, actually went to the brazen criminality extent to say that even if he was innocent, even if Geronimo was not infected with bovine tuberculosis, the Secretary of State said the evilness personified, the judge, is entitled to ignore that evidence. And the concept of due process and the concept of rule of law warrant that essential physical material evidence is at the center of the criteria which are used to make a judicial decision. And here was one of the three judges successively telling the lie that the Secretary of State was entitled to dismiss evidence. No such brazen stupidity would have been allowed to be perpetrated by any judge, any anyone sitting in the position of a judicial adjudicator, making such a stupid remark and making a decision based on such stupidity. So here is the continuation of the Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto editions, because in the United Kingdom as well as in the rest of the world, including the World Health Organization, I don't believe that there is any evidence which shows that brazen stupidity and criminality, illegality, defiance of rule of law and due process by any High Court judge or member of the judiciary would be allowed as acceptable. So, what we are doing is by referring to the Baby Angel Geronimo Manifesto editions, we are building up the evidence so that in due course we shall edit and compile the list of the check points that would be used as the criteria, the measures to show the extent of the abuse by the judiciary, the extent of the abuse by the DEFRA, the extent of the abuse by the various agencies that depraved DEFRA has engaged and does engage to make its obsessive, oppressive, corrupt, cruel opinions that actually are based on lies and conspiracies. So we extrapolate all of these to other similar cruel behavior by evilness personified. This is a broadcast coming from London E13 8RP. This is the postal area. And the broadcast is coming from as near physically as I can get to the perimeters of the thing called the Joy Foundation. I'm in the main road. And I believe that the three baby kittens, one is the gray one is the black and white one, and one is the shuri like young baby one, that is younger to the other two. And because he is young, he dances around and jumps from spot to spot before he neatly approaches the food. The spectacles that I have been deprived of, I have been prevented from watching. for the last 1 week or so by the evilness personified, who has decreed that I'm not allowed to feed the kittens. And he has no reason. He has not given any reason whatsoever why he has decreed and decided to stop me feeding the baby kittens. I have in my bag, carrier bag, the box of gourmet pouches. The box of gourmet pouches are the contents of the box contain the favorite variety of pouch food that these baby angels absolutely love, but they have been prevented from eating it. They have been prevented from eating the gourmet food that I have been carrying with me in the bag for the last 1 week. Now, the current issue of the satirical fortnightly magazine Private Eye, in its column called Rotten Boroughs, page 14 of the edition, I'm not looking at the magazine, I'm speaking from memory. The issue number, the fortnightly issue is number 1630, and it's covering today, 16th of August, to the 29th of August, the fortnight. So on page 14 of the issue, and in the feature called Rotten Boroughs, there is a short piece about Roxana Fias, which is headed Tears for Fias. Tears, T for Tommy, EARS for Fias, FIAZ. Tears for Fias is the heading to the piece that contains latest summary of complaints by altogether 21. And I'm not looking at the magazine article, I'm speaking from memory here. 21 elected Labour councillors and New York Council in East London so far, starting from 2022, have submitted complaints against Roxana Fias, accusing her of being a bully, arrogant, and beyond accountability. The long-running, long-standing readers of Private Lie magazine, notice I am using the word lie to rhyme with I. Private Lie magazine, long-standing readers would be familiar with the style of the magazine and the political timidity that Ian Hislop, I have edited the name Pissoff, Pissoff. It's a colloquial saying, get lost, you moron. Now, Ian Pissoff was given the position of editing the Private Lie magazine by Richard Ingrams in the mid 1980s. And Pissoff began he commenced his regime as editor of Private Lie by running a number of attack pieces on me, Muhammad Haq. Now, at that time, Muhammad Haq was leading the campaign in the United Kingdom. The most explosive political heading campaign that was run for about, let's say, 3 to 6 months or 7 months against the United Kingdom central government department in the name of education and the bureaucracies, National Union of Head Teachers, and the mainstream media. And the basis for the campaign that I was organizing and mobilizing, let's say starting in January 1992 and going on to the later months of 1992, was the school called the Stratford School in Newham. Remember, that was 1992? And such was the venom against me by the racist, anti-Muslim mainstream media, including the Guardian Observer, that they ran a profile against me. And the Guardian and the Observer ran the piece. The heading was the Angry Messiah of E1, that is East 1. And Channel 4 television was used as the vehicle to launch an attack, televised attack on me. Because I was noted by them as the most explosive political organizer at that time. So they launched a kind of hot debate series called Devil's Advocate. And the devil was the now deceased West Indian criminal disguised as the radical by the racist left on the National Union of Journalists, etc., etc. Darkas Dirty Howe. Darkas Dirty Howe was the presenter of that program, and he was there putting the questions to me. Now, Dirty Howe was not the original author of those questions that were put to me. The original author was Trevor Terrible P. Lips, P for Peter, double E, dash LIPS. He takes the dirty water from his racist masters and mistresses. Trevor Terrible P. Lips. Trevor Terrible P. Lips is patronaged by Harriet Hattie Harman, who was a leading cabinet member in the first cabinet fronted by Tony Vilaya. And the Guardian's now very old commentator called Polly Toynbee. Polly Toynbee and Hattie Harman, the leading so-called left and left of center women, politically matronized Trevor Terrible P. Lips. Trevor Terrible P. Lips has been now given a platform by Sky News. Initially, they squeezed him in. Back in January 1992, when I started the mobilization in defense of the parent governors at the Stratford School in Newham, Trevor Terrible P. Lips and others got really shocked because of the explosive political importance and significance being given to me in my daily statements on the BBC and ITV networks against the racists at the Stratford School. So they went about, conspired to create a program that eventually became called Devil's Advocate. And I was the main pilot program guest, or they say, as they say, the star within quotation marks. At one point, I accused Dirty, Darkus Dirty Howe, of being the racist mental slave doing the dirty for the racists by asking stupid questions of me. And there has been no similar episode in the last, I would say, 60, 70 years in the United Kingdom. No political activist coming from either African or Asian backgrounds, let alone of Muslim backgrounds, has been able to command the media attention in the way that my activities and campaigns enabled to be captured. One of the reporters at that time on the Rupert Murdoch Times was a thing called, well, I'll come to the name because I'm checking the name mentally as I try to remember it. But the Telegraph version of the Times at the time was an individual called Alistair McCall. Now, Alistair McCall actually articulated the response to the speed with which I would dispatch statements on the telephone and on the fax machine. And Alistair McCall, the Telegraph's political editor, political journalist, reporter at the time, admitted to me, he said that you are the only one in all this political field today that has the swiftest, the fastest rate and quality and standard and height of response to questions from reporters. Compared to Alistair McCall, the BBC Newsroom Southeast had a team of reporters, mainly including somebody called Alison Jacks. Alison, ALIS for sugar, ON, and Jacks, JACQUES, Alison Jacks. Alison Jacks would send me faxes asking me questions on a daily basis on what was the latest activities by the campaign in defense of the parent governors at the Stratford School. And unlike Jeremy Corbyn, who was leader of the Labour Party for 4 years, far from shying away and hiding, I would take them up front and I would tackle each and every single question that they had to put to me. So I'm sitting here in the Prince Regent Lane at 21:32 hours GMT on Friday, the 16th of August 2024. And I'm absolutely certain that the baby kittens are not going to be allowed to be fed by me, by the evilness personified who occupies the night shift at a thing called the Porter Cabin in the Prince Regent Lane, number 83 to 87. Prince Regent Lane, London E 13, 8 RP. So these babies, I cannot communicate to them physically, materially, but I am praying to God. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. The prayer that the Prophet who was saved by God was sent, and which prayer saved him. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. That prayer helped the Prophet who was under attack from evilnesses to be given shelter in the stomach of a big fish, and the big fish protected the Prophet and traveled under sea to the destination which was safe by God's standard and delivered a safe, protected Prophet to the destination. La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Now, I have no way of knowing how these babies have been surviving for the last 7 days or so. And I cannot ask any of the possible links to update me on how the babies have been doing. Suffice to say that the majority of the people, so called residents, that are in residence in the precinct, in the Joy Foundation, are devoid of sensitivity of the kind that they would have to have in order to be able to caringly and carefully, concernedly look after and look at and be aware of the states of these three kittens. In the Holy Quran, I cannot give the count now, but there are a large number of utterances by God Almighty, which says that there are so many human beings who are cruel and who are led astray by Shaitan. And among the people in the demography, in Newham, in Greater London, in England, in the United Kingdom, on the planet as a whole, there are so many human beings who are contemptuous and contemptibly cruel.